I will hear people say that they don't want to launch their course because they're worried someone's going to take the idea and create a similar course. And I say, yeah, so what? I mean, you're sitting here right now. Number one, you're not making any money. Number two, you're not serving anyone. You're not doing any good because you're afraid that if you put it out there and serve people and do some good and make some money, that someone is going to take the idea and run with it. Well, again, that's better than the alternative. So just let it happen. But again, nobody can be you.
Welcome to the Online Genius Podcast, where host and renegade-thinking beer-brewing lawyer turned online entrepreneur Bobby Klinck proves that building and protecting your online genius doesn't have to be rocket science. Bobby and his expert guests break down online marketing and the legal stuff so you can stop sweating the small stuff and get back to building your amazing business. Now, here's your host, Bobby Klinck.
Hey there, welcome to episode 116 of the Online Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klinck. And in today's Foundations Friday episode, we're going to be talking about a legal foundation. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about the fact that the question I get asked the most from online entrepreneurs is the wrong question to ask. And in some sense, this is kind of a combination of a business and a legal topic we're going to talk about. And specifically, what I think too many entrepreneurs worry about is whether people are going to steal their stuff once they put it out on the internet. And so what I'm going to tell you is stop worrying about that. And here's what I mean by that. The reality is that if you create great content, if you create a great product, if you create a great course, if you create anything that's really great, guess what? Someone's probably going to steal it. Someone's probably going to knock it off. Now, sometimes it's going to be blatant. There are going to be the truly blatant people who literally go in and record your course with a screen recorder and then sell it for pennies on the dollar on shady websites. Now, that sucks. But here's what I like to tell people about that. If you spend time worrying that someone's going to do that and spending any of your mental bandwidth on that, that is time, energy, etc., that you are not spending on actually creating the next great thing, or the time and energy you're not serving your customers or engaging or connecting or doing all of the other things that will actually move your business forward. And here's why I say that dealing with that stuff isn't going to move your business forward. Because I want you to understand, those people who blatantly rip stuff off and sell it for pennies on the dollar, think about it this way. If you have a course that's priced at $997, $1,000, and someone has ripped it off and is selling it for $47 on a website, which is the kind of thing that happens, anyone who would buy your product for $47 on these websites where it's very clear that these things are ripped off is not someone who would have ever paid you $997 for your product. So it's not like you're losing sales. Now, yes, it sucks that people are doing this, but here's the other piece that you need to understand. Chances are those people are in a foreign country where you're not going to have any real chance to actually go after them and get anything from them. And on top of that, they probably don't have any money to start with. And so you spending any time worrying about that is really just you worrying about something that you can't control, you can't do anything about, you can't make better, and there is nothing that you worrying will fix it. Now, maybe this will put your mind at ease because I know a lot of people, I tell them this and I say it over and over and over again, and people still worry about it. So there is an area of law called the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act here in the United States, that allows you to send a notice to someone who is hosting infringing material online. So let's just say someone, ripped off your course and put it up on Teachable or Kajabi or Kartra or one of those other reputable sites. You can go to them and send what's called a DMCA takedown notice. And I'm saying you would go to Teachable, Kajabi, Kartra, whatever place was hosting it and send them this notice and tell them that's my material, it's copyrighted, they've stolen it, take it down. Those companies will respond, they will take it down because they then can avoid being sued. If they don't respond to those, you could sue them. And so all of them will do it. And I bring this up because that's something you can do, but I was at Social Media Marketing World. I was sitting at a table for course creation or course creators, and one of the Teachable representatives came over, and the topic came up, and he started talking about it, and he said that 95% of the time when they get these notices, because they can go into the back end and see what's happening. He said 95% of the time that they get one of these takedown notices, this person who ripped it off had made 0 sales. So I tell you that so that you understand that even if someone does rip you off, chances are they're not selling it. They're not actually making any money. They're not taking anything away from you because they're not you. They can't market it. They don't have the people. It's just not going to work. So that's the blatant rip-off artists. And so I tell you that so that you stop worrying about that. Now, the other piece that people worry about is that people are going to take their idea. And again, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have a brilliant idea, people are going to take it. It's going to happen. And with ideas, with concepts, with things like that, chances are you can't even protect them. Because an idea is not protectable as soon as you put it out there in the world. The only way you can protect an idea is to keep it secret. And that's obviously not going to work very well because if you want this to actually, serve people, you've got to put it out in the world. And so again, now you can see how this mindset issue and this worrying about the wrong thing keeps people from taking action. I will hear people say that they don't want to launch their course because they're worried someone's going to take the idea and create a similar course. And I say, yeah, so what? I mean, you're sitting here right now. Number one, you're not making any money. Number two, you're not serving anyone. You're not doing any good because you're afraid that if you put it out there and serve people and do some good and make some money, that someone is going to take the idea and run with it. Well, again, that's better than the alternative. So just let it happen. But again, nobody can be you. The reality is that as much as we want to act like we're brilliant and our revenue and all that comes from our brilliance, the brilliance of our product, the brilliance of a framework or whatever, I'm going to level with you. Yes, we all talk in frameworks. So my membership site, for example, I talk about the fans framework. Find, attract, nurture, and serve your true fans. If someone teaches those exact same things, okay, guess what? A lot of people are teaching those things. A lot of people are teaching them in different ways and from different perspectives. That's not why people buy my Fans First Society. They join the Fans First Society because they connect with me, because they like the way I teach it, because they like me as a teacher. And I tell you that so that you understand no one else can be you. Ultimately, you're going to sell to people who connect with you as an entrepreneur, not because they're like, whoa, this is the most brilliant concept I've ever heard. Now, again, we've got to have good ideas, but the reality is that most of the people who are making a lot of money online aren't teaching something completely unique. They put their spin on it, but in reality, they make money because they have found their way, their approach, and have connected with their people. And so if you'll focus on doing that, it doesn't matter if someone takes your idea and rips it off. So again, that's the other reason why I'm saying don't worry about it. But the broader point here is, and this is kind of a, where I said it's a business perspective as much as a legal perspective. The big problem is that when you're worried about that stuff, it becomes a roadblock that prevents you from taking action. Or maybe you go down a bunch of rabbit trails or you go down the internets and just spend so much time worrying about this stuff instead of getting out there, creating great content, connecting with people, creating great products to meet their needs, and then marketing those products. And that's where you're going to get more bang for the buck. That's where you need to do it. Now, again, I'm obviously not telling you don't worry about the legal stuff. But what I would tell you is that on the legal stuff, there are really two sides to it. First of all, the most important thing is make sure you don't step on someone else's rights. So in other words, make sure you're not doing something that could get you sued because you are taking someone's copyrighted material, which again, you're listening here, so I assume you wouldn't do that, but maybe you do it inadvertently by using a picture you're not authorized to do. Make sure you don't do that. Carefully make sure that you can use the brand name, the course name, the podcast name, whatever it is that you choose, that there's not a trademark issue there. So be careful there. And then other than that, on the affirmative side, what you need to be doing more than anything else is getting your agreements in writing. You've heard me talk about this till I'm blue in the face because I honestly believe it, because that's the thing you actually can control. You can decide, I'm going to get agreements in writing. I'm going to make sure that I've done those things, and that is how I will protect myself. That's how I'll make sure, for example, that a contractor doesn't take my idea and sell it to someone else. That's something you can prevent from happening. You can't prevent someone who sees it on the internets from taking it, but you can prevent your contractors, your employees from taking it. You can have confidentiality clauses. You can have things that limit what your students can do with material. That you can do when you put together the right written agreements. And so that's why I stress that's something in your control. So do that. Make sure you're dealing with that in the right way so that you're actually putting yourself in the best position. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs say, that's great, but what do I do? And that's why I put together my legal assessment tool. It is absolutely free. If you want to figure out what it is that you need to do, what agreements do you need to get in place to protect your business, you can take the assessment. And again, I've talked about it a few different times. The way it works is there are, I think, up to 30 questions. It's not exactly that, but right around 30 questions. Some are conditional based on how you answer one question. You either will or won't see future questions. And then you get a report that is completely customized based upon those answers. I think there's 100 million permutations of the report, if I did my math right. It's somewhere around there, but a lot of potential reports. So it will give you your personal prescription for what you need to do. If you want to get your prescription for kind of how to protect yourself, go to bobbyklinck.com/legal assessment. And again, there's two S's both times. So bobbyklinck.com/legal assessment. You go there, it's an opt-in, you opt in, and then you take the assessment and you will get your personalized report. And that's what you should worry about from a legal perspective. Don't worry about whether someone's going to steal your stuff because again, they're gonna, and you're not going to do anything about it. So deal with the stuff you can control. Don't worry about the stuff you can't control. That's it for this episode of the Online Genius Podcast. I'll see you again next week.
Thanks for listening to the Online Genius Podcast. Make sure to tune in next week for more great tips, tricks, and strategies to help you build and protect your online genius.